this has happened to African Americans for centuries. You got to be willing to die for what you believe in. If you're not willing to die for it, it just ain't that serious to you, right? You die for your mom, your dad, your kids, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna die for my rights.
Okay.
Can I talk about anything?
You could talk about anything.
Okay.
First, I just want to get your name and where you're from.
Sure. Let me know when you're ready.
Are we ready?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
great.
yeah, you click right here.
My name is Justin. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I've lived in L.A. for about 15 years, and I'm back and forth between the two cities.
Okay. Absolutely. DC, man. I'm from Jersey.
Okay, East Coaster.
So, East Coast.
That's
Absolutely.
great.
I felt your vibe was a little different.
You heard the accent?
Yeah, vibe was a little different.
Okay,
So,
okay.
how old are you?
I'll be 44 in 2 days.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, happy early birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. This
So-
is a great gift. You guys come in providing just a little bit of encouragement to the guys here, just to take their minds off of the everyday grind here in the penitentiary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what brought you out here?
To California?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's a wild, wild west. You know, everybody's been coming out here for 200 years. It's a lot of opportunity in California.
Right.
California is a land of dreams. You can really do a lot out here, but it's a big state. It could almost be a country. And one thing I didn't realize, which is part of the reason I'm in here, is that all the areas in the state aren't the same. They don't treat blacks the same in the suburbs as they do in LA or San Francisco or Oakland. So you don't really, you don't get any sort of benefit of the doubt in certain places. So I learned that the hard way coming out here. But it's all right. There's no losses, only lessons, you know. So I've learned some great lessons being in here about what the other side of the coin is like. And I want to help these guys when I get out of here. Not just here, but, you know, all over the country. I think there's a lot of reform that can go on in the penitentiary system for sure, but also in the justice system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you there. So I guess that leads me to ask, and feel free if there's anything that I asked to.
Nothing's off limits.
Okay. All right. So what are you down for?
Well, I went 43 years with no felonies, and I lost trial. Now I have 12. So I went from zero to hero in one fell swoop for buying one house.
For buying, what's that?
I purchased a house in the wrong county, San Mateo County. So living in LA, I bought pre-foreclosures. I was a real estate investor, dozens and dozens of problem-free sales, happy clients. Long story short, a simple contract dispute turned into me and my African-American real estate agent all of a sudden being fraudsters because we were from LA doing business in a different county, and we were end up being charged with theft, burglary, money laundering, all that craziness. Yeah, so
Sheesh.
yeah, so I'm working on getting out of here. I'm innocent, so that's why I took it to trial. I would never take a deal knowing that I committed no crime, but I'm working on an appeal right now, and that should get me out of here, hopefully. It's called the Racial Justice Act. It's a law that California essentially picked up from, I believe, the state of Washington. And I think they're the only two states right now that have that. But I had some real crazy stuff going in my trial. I had a hung jury with a paid attorney who misrepresented that he understood real estate, but through the whole thing, he's like, I don't understand these contracts. Woo, woo, woo. It was hung, fortunately, and I was able to go free, but I didn't want that guy anymore. The courts asked if I was going to keep him. I said no. they assigned me, the prosecutor said she was going to refile the case. They assigned me a public defender as a placeholder. And I guess 10 months later, early 2024, they did the retrial. Hired a new lawyer, $50,000, went to do the substitution. The judge denied my substitution, said, oh, you have a very good public defender, and forced me to trial with the public defender I did not want, who was completely unprepared, refused to give me the transcripts from the original trial, and ended up losing the trial. That right there is a violation of my constitutional right to counsel of choice. It's well established. But it gets crazier. That happens to a lot of people. I mean, I don't know
I'm sitting here like...
A lot of people get their constitutional rights violated. But the crazy part is the hung jury was... It had a lot of racial connotations going on. It really, the jury broke because of racist things that were going on in the deliberations room back in 2023. So during the retrial, one of those jurors comes back. He's in the courtroom every day. He's hanging out with the new jurors every day. He's talking to the prosecutor. He's telling the new jurors that he or they, whatever, voted me guilty last time, and they didn't need to vote me guilty. So now I've got 13 jurors instead of 12. So the prosecutor's working with this guy. She's asking the judge to reprimand me based upon this guy who's sitting in the back of the courtroom taking notes of me. Justin nodded his head yes 5 times. He shook his head no twice. And I got the proof. I got the emails. It's crazy. Right. So basically, the prosecutor reintroduced a racist juror from the first trial into the new juror. She engaged in illegal jury tampering, attempted influence and ongoing proceeding, all types of crimes. I believe the prosecutor herself, Kimberly Parati in San Mateo County, should be fired and locked up. So this has happened to African Americans for centuries. Okay? This is nothing new. This is not an anomaly. We've been fighting an uphill battle since the dawn of this nation. Okay? So we get emancipated in 1865. The Civil Rights Act doesn't even pass until 1964, 99 years later. It takes 100 years for us to walk in the front door? To ride at the front of the bus? A century? And now all those civil rights leaders are dead. They're gone. Unfortunately, I believe a lot of us felt like we made it, right? Now, we got money, we got power, but we don't have a lot of political power. We've got fame, we've got entertainers and all of that, which is great. But I think we need a lot more civil rights activists, people who are willing to put their neck on the line. Like me, I stood up, I said, I'm not taking a deal. I'll go all the way because I know what's right. And you guys are doing the right thing too, bringing hope to these people in here. And first of all, I don't know if you noticed, but 80% of the people in here are Black and Mexican. Mm-hmm. Just like the penitentiary system. But that's not the demographics of the state. That's not the demographics of the nation. Why is that? 99% of them had a public defender, okay? And 90% of them were talked into taking a deal. Probably 95% of them took a deal. I would say at least 10 to 15% of the people I met in here are actually innocent, but they didn't have the resources to represent themselves. Someone can accuse you of something, put 20 years in front of you. Sure, you're going to take 4 or 5 years if that's all you know, if that's all you can do.
Right.
You know, so we need a lot of reform in the system. But anyway, as far as my case goes, the Racial Justice Act is a new law. It's just a few years old here in California. Fortunately, it exists, or I wouldn't be able to use it to get out of here. But I do want to clear my name. And, you know, this has been an invaluable experience for me. Do I hate it? Yes. Do I ever want to go through it again? No. But like I said, there's only lessons. Mm-hmm. So this has been a lesson that I've taken, and I want to use it to help a lot of people when I get out of here. Yeah.
That's powerful, bro. I honestly don't know what to say other than I'm sorry that this has happened to you, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I get the sense that if it were to happen to anybody, it's good that it's happened to you that have this mind and this perception. You know what I mean? This perspective to want to help and to want to like let your story be told and let your story be a catalyst for change. So I'm grateful for you and your lived experience. And I know, like, I don't know, man, I'm getting chills just listening to you for real. Grateful that you've experienced this and that you do have a path to get out of here. And you have a desire to want to help some of these guys and people throughout the nation that are suffering from the same thing. Because you're right. I mean, we go into a bunch of prisons up and down the state, and it's all people that look like us. And, you know, people on the outside tend to think it's branding, right? Like it's branding throughout history, right? Where we've all kind of like, anytime there's a jail movie or, you know what I'm saying? Anytime we see crime happening on TV or whatever the case may be, it's black and brown, essentially. You know, but that, like you said, is not representative of the population. And why is this actually happening? You know, like what are the systems that are in place that are keeping this, you know, going? Why is the recidivism rate so high? You know, are we actually rehabilitating people when they're coming inside these places that are supposed to rehabilitate? You know, so I just thank you for your service. I agree with you that we do need more civil rights leaders. You know, and unfortunately, like you said, a lot of the ones that we know and that are famous have been murdered violently or discredited in some sort of way. So I think that has served as a deterrent for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
You know, like, no, you know, people are like, man, like, shit, I could be peaceful, but in protest and I could get my head blown off like Martin Luther King. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I agree with you, and I live for that energy, for real.
I think more of us should be willing to get our head blown off. You got to be willing to die for what you believe in. If you're not willing to die for it, it just ain't that serious to you, right? You die for your mom, your dad, your kids, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to die for my rights. Because if I don't, then my kids won't have them. You understand what I'm saying? So if they see that you're willing to go all the way, and we could do that with unitedly, I don't know, is that a word, unitedly? But if
We're going to say it's a word, but I felt it.
if we can do that in a united fashion, then we'll be unstoppable. You know what I'm saying? We don't march anymore for civil rights. I mean, I understand that, like, you know, there might be a riot or something like that, like whatever happened after George Floyd. But I mean, what did that really accomplish? That cop was going down anyway. You know what I mean? Have the police really stopped shooting us? Maybe not stepping on our neck, but have they stopped killing us at the rate that they were before then? You know, we need a systemic change, you know. And if that change can't be affected, then the system is broken. And you need to hit the reset button on it. You know, and I'm not saying I have the answer to that or I know how to do that. That's why we need collective minds to come together. But for sure, what I can tell you is that the justice system was created to oppress us after slavery, to put us right back into slavery for petty crimes. And that historic process, the way that they operated, it's still here. It hasn't changed. It has not changed. I've heard some crazy, crazy stories from these guys. Guys that are getting 4 or 5 years off of stuff that's off of, like, saying, man, I'm gonna kill you. We've all said that. There ain't a person that's over 20 years old who's never at some way said, man, I'm gonna kill you, just out of anger or something, right? That doesn't deserve to be charged with, like, a terrorist threat and you getting several years of your life taken away. It's just wrong. You know what I mean? And there's no Caucasian people in here with those charges. They slide. They don't even get charged with it. You know what I mean? But if we say it, oh no. You know, it's the impression that they have of minorities. It happened today. It's subconscious. We're watching a movie, and the main actors are in front of this government building, and it's a black cop and a black lady and her daughter walk by, and one of the white guys here, he goes, "Man, I didn't know they were this scene was set in the ghetto." It was a government building. They were in front of it. Wasn't a ghetto because he saw black people walking by. He thought it was a ghetto. It was a government building, and it wasn't intentional on his part. He wasn't trying to be offensive or anything, but that's how he felt as soon as he saw some black people. So we do not get a pass. If someone charges with you with something, you are automatically guilty. We are guilty until proven innocent. That system is not designed for us. Innocent until proven guilty, that is not the case for African Americans. It simply isn't. You have to prove your innocence, unfortunately. And so that's what we need to start doing. Get your evidence. Whenever you're interacting in a business deal, record it. If you're doing anything, you have the opportunity to record it, do record it, because you're going to need proof that you're innocent. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in today. So we got a long way to go. Yeah, we had Barack Obama. Okay, I'm not getting into politics, but I don't know how long it'll be till we have a black president again. But that doesn't mean we made it. It's a huge uphill battle that we're still fighting. In the court systems, with law enforcement, socially, even with banks when it comes to getting loans. Redlining is unofficially still going on in certain communities. Good luck trying to get a house there, even though you got perfect credit. We have a long way to go. And frankly, I forgot about that because I was living a good life before I caught this case. And this has been a harsh reminder that I was on that wrong path. I was doing well, 7 figures, etc. Worried about me. But that's not living. What are you gonna put on my tombstone, right? This has opened my eyes to the fact that I have to help our people continue to move forward, just like what you guys are doing. So I thank you for coming here. Continue visiting other prisons whenever you have the time. Go to other states, help those people too. So now I will say, I've been complaining about the justice system of a single county, San Mateo County, okay? I can't speak for the other counties in California or the CDCR, Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, but I will say that the officers here at this fire camp, they're great people. The fire captains, they're wonderful people. They have nothing to do with the justice system here in California. They're just here to guard us. And they treat us with respect, and they're definitely here to rehabilitate the guys. So hats off to those people for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they made, coming here a great experience. I mean, this is now my 3rd time here. And, it seems like we'll be doing a lot more programming here as we move forward. And I'm definitely just fortunate to be able to outreach and just interact and meet individuals such as yourself with such amazing stories and backgrounds. And, you've given me so much game here just in, a few minutes that we've been sitting down, One of the things I wanted to mention, obviously you're here and you're at this fire camp. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about is like, how do you feel in this position, like putting your life on the line now, and potentially going and serving in the same community that, kind of marginalized you or looked at or didn't give you that benefit of the doubt when you were out? Like how does that feel?
those two things are they're not associated with each other. You know, just because somebody does something over here, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't help somebody over here who still looks like that person. You know what I mean? Most people aren't bad. It's just the people who have power who are making these decisions that destroy lives. It's not the general population, you know. But I mean, just to circle back real quick, when I talk about the people with power, my judge, his name was Jonathan Karish up in San Mateo County. They got my name. They ran me through the media. Let's run them through it too, okay? Everybody's name needs to be on the table here. So after he sentenced me, after I was convicted, I'm sitting in county jail for 3 months, and they send a probation lady out to interview me, right? And so she's asking me about the case or whatever, and I say, listen, ma'am, I'm innocent, but I'm not the first black man to feel like he's innocent and to do time. And Nelson Mandela, he did 20 some years.
27, yeah.
He came out and he didn't let it break him, and he made something of himself. So if Nelson Mandela could do it, I can do it. And he did it in much harsher conditions. So she's smiling on my face, writing it all down. You know, that smile, right? And so the judge, when he's sentencing me, you're not gonna believe this. He goes, well, it says here in the probation report that you compared yourself to Nelson Mandela. That means you're not sorry. I'm gonna give you more time than I was originally planning. So now you're taking away one of my civil rights leaders. I can't even look up to a black man who made something of himself. And not only do you have a problem with it, you're punishing me for looking up to Nelson Mandela? That's the problem. Now, he might say, oh, well, he was a political prisoner and you're not. That don't matter. It doesn't matter what he was down for. Mm-hmm. He didn't let it break him. And he could have been guilty or he could have been innocent. But he made something of himself when he got out of prison. That's the point. The R is for rehabilitation and CDCR. You trying to take that away from me now?
That reminds me, a lot of the individuals that we work with, when they go to parole, right? They always talk about how, they might have gotten denied once, twice, and then they finally understood how to answer the questions within the questions, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of them are being asked about their remorse or, you know what I'm saying? And even some individuals who maintain their innocence to this day, when they're at that parole board, they're being asked like, well, are you sorry? Or, if you say or refer to yourself too many times, that shows that you still have this self-centered, view, and you're not thinking about how you can help society. So we feel you're not rehabilitated. So it's just crazy, man, just thinking about the questions within the questions. And like you said, the prejudice that exists within the system, where it's like the system works well. And like you said, it's not the common person, it's the people who are in power who might not even realize that they're taking part in it. You know what I'm saying? Because the system works so well that it's almost like you're not even fighting a living, breathing human. You're fighting like a robot that has, been programmed and can keep going until the end of time. So,
institutional racism.
Right.
It was there before that judge or that prosecutor got there, but that's the tools that they use to push these cases through. It works best for them. It's the easiest. It's the path of least resistance for them, But if we don't push back, it's going to go on for another 99 years.
Right.
For sure.
I think it's beautiful that you maintain the you know you maintain the ability to be able to discern between, you know, the good and the bad, and like you can praise the individuals such as the, you know, support staff here, and, you know, the guards and captains and sergeants and whatnot, and recognize that although they work within a system, you know what I mean, they're not the same individuals who are oppressing you at the end of the day. So I
Yeah.
think that's a beautiful thing, and I think that that's something that a lot of people on the outside don't recognize, is that you do have the ability to be able to make that discernment. You know what I mean? And if you didn't, you know, you might be running around, you know, fighting every white person that you saw or whatever. You know,
I'd be just as guilty to put everybody in one category. That's what they
Right.
do to us.
Right.
I can't go around doing the same thing. It's simply not true. You know, all people are exactly the same. We just look different. We come from different neighborhoods. But on the inside, we're all the same. You know, and if everybody recognized that, life would be a lot easier. It really would be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, brother, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I guess one more question.
Sure.
I want to ask, and it's the question. You got time?
Oh man, I don't know, man. All right, let's go.
I guess I want to ask you a question about legacy.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be, or what will your legacy be, rather, when you're done with this earth? What will people say about you when you're gone?
That's a great question. You know, I was actually thinking about that the other day, what my tombstone would say. And it would say, he tried. So I just want to be the type of guy that's remembered as someone who helped people, who did his very best to leave the world a better place. I know we hear that a lot, but that's our responsibility. I believe that's the purpose of life. What is the purpose of being here? Is to leave the world a better place than it was before you got here, you know? So that's going to be my legacy. And if it's just my family and friends who knows it, so be it. But if I can touch the lives of people all over this nation, then I would be very happy to do that, to help several thousand people to improve their lives, to give them a better chance to know, you know what, I'm not going to take that deal. You know what, I'm going to push for a speedy trial. That's my right. It's the first thing they ask you to do when you go to court is to waive your rights. Would you like to waive your right to a speedy trial? No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to give you 9 months to make up some lies. Let's get this done in 60 days. I got a private attorney ready. I got a pro bono attorney who's going to help me if I don't have the money, because he knows I'm innocent. And we're not going to let you railroad me. You know, if everybody pushed for a speedy trial, it would break the system. There are hundreds of cases coming through with maybe like 10 or 12 prosecutors in any county, right? If everybody pushed for a speedy trial, all those bogus cases would get tossed out. They could focus on the real crimes. But if everybody waives time, okay, you said you're going to kill somebody because you were drunk and angry. How about 4 years? No, 3? Okay, run it. That's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, it's almost a game. It's not because the stakes are life and death, but they don't even care if they let you off. It's just numbers, you know what I mean? The appellate courts let people off who've committed homicide over technicality sometimes, right? Okay, let them go. You messed up, procedural error, structural error, whatever. They get to go. They get to walk. And then people are doing hard time still for selling weed back before it was legal. They're still locked up, right? So it's not really about what you've done. It's about knowing how to play the game. So if I can teach people how to play the game, teach people what their rights are, remind them what their rights are. Unfortunately, I talked to a lot of brothers in here. They don't know what the contents of the Civil Rights Act is, unfortunately. We need to know that stuff so we can stand up for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want my legacy to be, to help people to stand up for themselves, you know, not to get run over, you know.
Absolutely, brother. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been an honor to speak to you. And I hope that we can position this and have somebody somebody see it that, you know, can be moved by it. I know they will be moved by it, just as moved as I am sitting here. So
Thank you.
definitely appreciate it.